Good afternoon, everyone. Growing up, our lives follow a structure that we barely ever question. Our parents decide what time we wake up, what we eat. Our teachers tell us when to study, and schools pretty much determine the flow of our days. Now, in my case, I'm sorry, in my case, and in everyone else's, well, maybe you also agree. You can, growing up, it felt very restrictive. And some of you might have thought, oh my gosh, my parents are so annoying. Why are they making me do this? No, in my case, there was an additional layer to this structure, which was sports. Being part of a team meant that not only my parents, my teachers, and school determined the days, but also my coaches. It was practices during the week, competitions on the weekends, and expectations that you show up prepared to practice. For a kid, this can feel a bit overwhelming and sometimes restrictive, and you don't understand why do you have to follow these structures. But over time, you realize that they were preparing you for something bigger. Now, let's move forward a couple of years when I started university. For the first time in my life, all of this structure completely disappeared. I was the one in complete charge of my own decisions. My parents weren't there to tell me when to wake up or what to eat. I was the one who could choose. Do I feel like studying today? Do I feel like going to class? Should I eat a cheeseburger right now? And at first, it really felt freeing because I was in charge of my own decisions. But over time, it started to feel like an overwhelming sensation because my days felt very unproductive and I wasn't actually achieving anything. Now, it was at this point that I knew I had two options to choose from. On the one hand, I could keep doing exactly what I was doing, which was choosing the easiest option or whatever I felt like doing in the moment. Or I could implement everything I had learned growing up with those structures. I obviously decided to roll back in bed and watch The Vampire Diaries for the 7th time. No, I'm kidding. But instead, I decided to implement everything I had learned growing up. And today, I want to share with you the 3 lessons that helped me get my life together. So, the first one, just show up. Honestly, it seems very simple, but athletes don't go to practice just when they're motivated. No, try telling your coach, actually today I don't want to do anything, I don't feel like it. No, you show up when you're tired, you show up when you're sad, you just show up and do exactly what you're meant to do. And if you apply this to your real life, and when I applied this to my real life, it just meant showing up, whether that meant to study or to working out. I just show up and I realized that all of the tasks that I had been dreading doing were actually so easy. I just had to sit down and actually do them. The second lesson is that practice comes from repetition. Athletes don't get to the top just by one big effort. No, they keep showing up every single day until they get to their goals. And this, if you think about it, can be applied to everything in life. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you prepared today's presentation? I bet more than once, because we all know that if we want to come here and do a good job, we have to repeat it until we know it. Now, once I applied this into my real life, I discovered that I didn't have to change my life absolutely. No, I could do simple habits into every single day that would get me closer to my goals. So for instance, if you want to get faster at running, you're not going to start by running a marathon, because that's a bit crazy. You're going to implement habits into your every single day to get you closer to your goal, which can be, I'm going to run every single morning. Now, for the third one, and my most important one, is accountability. Being part of a team sport means that your actions not only affect yourself, but every single person on the team. If one day you decide you don't want to give any energy, the rest of them are also going to get affected. But this can also translate into the positive. If you put all of your effort and everyone else puts all of their efforts, you're going to get closer to your goals together. And this is actually backed up by science. There's so many studies that prove that if you share your goals, you're actually more capable of getting to them. Now, if you apply this to every single day, For me, it meant joining study groups or joining running clubs, which forced me to do the actions to get to my goals. In my case, I forced my boyfriend to sign up for a higher ups with me, because in this case, we're both accountable for each other, and we push past our limits to train hard every single day. Now, over the time, I realized that by implementing all of these lessons that the structures I grew up with had given me, my life started to feel more balanced, and I was actually achieving way more than I had never achieved. Now, looking back, I realized that all of the structures that I had once complained about or that once felt very overwhelming were actually teaching me lessons for my future. Now, sports didn't just teach me how to compete or how to perform. They taught me how routines work, how performance comes from repetition, and how accountability shapes the way I see commitment. Now, for me, those lessons came from sports. From you, they might have come from somewhere else. But it's important that you remember them and you apply them into your every single day. Because you need to remember that the actions you do every single day quietly shape the person you will become tomorrow. Thank you so much.